foremost, I want to thank you for coming over today. Let's get this thing started. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. I just want to give you an update on Veterans Day. Thank you. It is a common courtesy that when the national anthem is being played, that you stand, remove your hat, place your right hand over your heart until the music is ended. This shows respect and dignity for our flag and for those who have fought and died for our country. Our flag is a symbol of freedom and our way of life. November 11th, what we now call Veterans Day, was originally called Armistice Day. It was celebrated at the end of World War I when the guns fell silent across the Great Western Front on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. It is not a day to celebrate war, but it is a day to celebrate peace and to remember those who fought and died for peace. I want to take this opportunity as a veteran to remember and to help those who enjoyed this hard-fought time in battle. So, at this time, we will have a march on of the colors. So please remove your hats. And please rise. Scouts, post the colors. At this time, Miss Blair and her divas kick this thing off. First and foremost, I want to introduce myself to those of you that don't know me. I'm Randy Ott. I'm a special education teacher here at Lewis and Clark High School, down on the ground floor. Thank you. The sacrifices of our soldiers, sailors, Marines, Airmen, and Coast Guardsmen in places such as Kings Mountain, Bunker Hill, New Orleans, Tripoli, the Mexican border, Gettysburg, Cuba, Manila Bay, the Philippines, Bellawood, Normandy, the Bulge, Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Midway, Saipan, the Chosin Reservoir, Incheon, Da Nang, Khe Sanh, Beirut, Grenada, Desert Storm, Somalia, Bosnia, Iraq, and now Afghanistan, and hundreds of other places are all of the places that our military have been, our veterans. It's an honor for me to be here today in front of you, the future of this country. From the freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, you're the leaders of tomorrow. Some of you may become veterans, some of you may not, but you are our future, and I hope you don't ever forget that. To my right and to my left, I've got people that have stood for our country at its weakest moments and at its defining moments. And they're here to speak and be honored by you and to share with you things that they've done in their careers and things that they've expressed for your freedoms. So first and foremost, I'd like to introduce Captain Terry Felder, U.S. Air Force active duty, and her daughters. Captain Felder is a Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran, and we're going to let her share some of her moments. Thank you.
Hello, Lewis and Clark Tigers. My name is Captain Terry Felder, as Mr. Ott introduced. I am a nurse in the Air Force, and I recently served in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. So I asked my daughters kind of what were they thinking I needed to speak about, because apparently I was a little higher than on the level of what they expected to hear. They wanted to know things that I experienced while I was over there. And the first thing I thought about was, what exactly is a veteran? I remember when I was younger, Veterans Day basically meant a free pass out of school. Anybody else think that's pretty much what it accounts for? I know I did. And yes, way back when we did have Veterans Day. So for as long as there are Americans involved in any war effort, there will be veterans. Sorry. My father is a veteran from Vietnam. One of my brothers served in Desert Storm, and I now can call myself a veteran of the Operation Enduring Freedom. So why do we pay tribute to our nation's heroes, men and women of yesterday and today? Because someone, somewhere, has sacrificed their time, their effort, their limbs, or their life so that we have the freedoms that we have today. We are free to be whatever we want to be, whatever that is. So in the summer of 2009, I arrived in Afghanistan, leaving behind my family. And as soon as I arrived, the military issued me a 9mm pistol. My first thought was, pretty cool. Now I'm a pistol-packing nurse. My second thought was that carrying around a gun was not exactly the smartest thing for me to do. Besides, as a nurse, we're taught to do no harm. And now I'm having to, if necessary, injure the individual if there's a threat to my life or a threat to the lives of others. Then a light bulb went on, and suddenly I remembered, hey, you're a nurse, aren't you? After you shoot someone, you'll just simply put them back together. It's all good. I applaud America for how we as a people conduct ourselves in the art of war. If we're forced to wound someone, even the enemy, we will not leave you out there to rot. We will do the honorable thing and repair you to the extent that you are possibly capable of functioning in. So we'll fix you if we harm you. This is significantly different from other societies. I remember once I took care of a teenage boy who was found out in the desert, who was considered as what we call the enemy of peace, not the enemy of war, but of peace. Totally different thought process. This individual was injured out in the war zone because he was found in the desert out there simply making a simple cell phone call. Now in America, that wouldn't be anything unusual. We see children on the phone all day, every day. But out in the middle of nowhere, where on earth and who on earth are you calling out in the desert with a cell phone? So, in essence, because he chose to side with the Taliban, he unfortunately was injured. Now, unfortunately, children are not that much dissimilar to what they are in America. They still aspire to have things. They still want to be more than they were yesterday. But unfortunately, if you don't have positive influences in your life, people showing you that there is something better, then unfortunately we may side with the wrong side and do things that are not necessarily positive and get ourselves into trouble. So after countless patients day in and day out, I, as a person, finally understood how war changes you, and unfortunately not necessarily for the good. Eventually, to keep from losing it, many people will embrace a higher source. Regardless of your belief system, at some point in time, we all seek that place where we can shut out the world. So after seeing patients over and over again, eventually after that 180 days of serving there, I could finally come home, shake the sand out of my clothes, and head home to my family. But no one from their experiences will ever be the same. And I was left knowing that although my job was not to fight, I made an impact on the war as a nurse aiding the lives of my soldiers and helping them get back home to their loved ones. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure everybody realizes that, you know, I started. Hello? Okay. And so, like, everybody really recognizes. Okay. Not only that, they had to, like, they also sacrificed, but the families also have to sacrifice. So with that, like day of being a senior, which my mom happened to miss, my first date, she happened to miss also. So little dates like that, like most of us probably would take for granted, but being that, you know, I am a military family and not having my mom out there for, this microphone sucks, but anyways, so just recognize that little things like that actually mean something. Now it runs.
So if you have a friend out there that has a similar situation, reach out and let them know you're there for them. You never know what they are truly feeling unless you reach out. This day is for honoring all the military veterans, to say thank you for serving this country, reminding us to remember our truth, and to never forget that freedom is not free.
We'll try this one again. All right. Next, I'd like to introduce Gunnery Sergeant Nick Cervantes, United States Marine Corps, Operation Iraqi Freedom veteran.
Everybody hear me? That's good. All right, hey, look, everybody, I'm not here to recruit you today. It's quite a relief for you, right? Chasing down the hallways, everybody's dodging me and everything. That's all right. I was calling around the list yesterday, and I had one person hang up on me. Stevie, where you at? That's all right. Check it out. Hey, it's no problem, because one, just for this Veterans Day, it's good for me to be able to speak. Two, you know, you guys do have that right to do that because of people like myself and the rest of the people here that have fought for you to have those freedoms. Okay? To me, I laugh about it, so, you know, don't get offensive. All right? So. But check it out. I have pretty much been in for about 13 years in the Marine Corps. A lot of it is kind of a family tradition, and a lot of it is just for self-pride. Just for my, you know, just for defending this country. You know, I've traveled around quite a bit, and just want to say, hey, you guys need to be very thankful for what you have, and, you know, what's around you. Especially family, friends, because a lot of these countries I've been to basically have no freedom whatsoever. You know, kind of go back to that phone call where somebody hangs up, I guarantee you somebody would probably be at your door. And it wouldn't be good. Probably bad, right? For some of you. You know, just think of things like that, okay? Just be appreciative of what, you know, men and women that have retired, that are still serving, are doing for you right now. If you don't join, hey, it's fine. We still need support back here from you guys. All right? A lot of care packages that come to us, letters, you know, phone calls, instant messaging, email, anything helps out. All right? It's kind of hard times right now just because of things that are going on, you know, fighting terrorism pretty much. I've been out to Iraq 4 times. So pretty much 4 6-month deployments, training in between, but still going back. Just because I know that what I'm doing right now is to keep, you know, all the violence and everything that's going on over there from coming on over here. All right, and that's what gives me a lot of pride. To see all of you guys be able to do what you want any time of day and just be free, okay? I've also, you know, had the opportunity to go to Central Africa and kind of see what's going on there. There's a lot of terrorists out there. You know, they do consolidate around the area, but freedoms out there are, you know, very minimal. But, you know, we're trying to keep everything over there away from you guys. So, you know, I really appreciate everything you guys do. You know, always enjoy seeing you guys. And hey, you know, once I get off this recruiting duty, I'm going to go right back out there. You know, do the same things I've been doing now, just trying to keep you guys free and keep you guys, you know, doing whatever you want to do. Because that's your right as an American. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. What is a veteran? That's kind of the common theme that you'll hear throughout the day. One of the stories that I've always heard from various sources is a veteran is a person that has written a check to his country up to and including his life for freedom. So if you look at and listen to what that means, pretty intense, because you do the training and you're in and out of various zones and countries, and you're just out there to fight for freedom. So the next person I'd like to introduce is somebody that fought for freedom during one of the greatest wars, World War II, Jack Rasmussen. He's a veteran of the Marine Corps. He's a very good friend of mine. I'd like to have him come up now and share about Veterans Day. And by the way, Jack isn't going to tell you, but he's 87 years old, spry as a guy can be, and he's a very good friend, a dear friend, and a dear American. Thank you.
Gee, it's really a pleasure to be here. I look back at all you young folks and I reminisce. Let's see, when I was your age, I was just waiting. I just got out of high school. What happens? The Japanese connive and hit old Pearl Harbor. So the first thing that I do, feeling a good patriot, I joined the Marine Corps. What a deal that was, though. What an experience. I found out that my pay was 75 cents a day, $21 a month, but that was then. I found out that later that freedom isn't quite that cheap. I left on January after they checked me out. I went in the day after Pearl Harbor. I went down to the office, signed up. It took about a month for them to check me out, and I left in January of 1942. Went down to San Diego, trained like that, hardest work I ever did. I still run. I got to do Bloomsday from that. Those early days, and I still do Bloomsday. In fact, I gave you a nice ribbon on the belt for coming in third this year. Years ago, I got second. I left Bloomsday. Anyway, our training was difficult, and I found out our freedom that we have is not cheap. The first thing I knew, we were down in Auckland, New Zealand, halfway around the world. And from there, after war training, jungle warfare, we landed up in Guadalcanal, the Solomon Islands. I hope you'll look on the map and see just where that is. Many people don't know quite what it is. It's a group of islands, and Guadalcanal was the first that was taken back from World War II, starting with World War II. And we got Henderson Field and whatnot. And then my first landing actually was on Northern Solomons, which was Bougainville. You know, you just think of those as islands, well, they were beautiful passing by in a boat. But you know, they get rain about 300 or 400 inches of rainfall a year on Bougainville. And you're out there, and mosquitoes, crocodiles, some birds, and it is beautiful. But we were on the front lines for 2 months. And we built the Seabees come in behind us and built a airport for guys like Pappy Boynton and whatnot to do their bombing. After we'd been there for 2 months, we finally got relieved. You know where we went back? We didn't come back to the States. We went back to Guadalcanal, still in the jungle. Later on, we found our way, headed for this Mariana Islands, and that is Guam. We were on the first wave going into Guam, and on that first day was tragedy. My company commander, my platoon leader, and my platoon sergeant were all killed the first day. Another corporal, I was a corporal, squad leader at the time, and another corporal and I took over our platoon, and we did a good job until for about 4 or 5 days, then they got another commissioned officer in. We had about 30% casualties on Guam. But as I said, freedom isn't cheap. And I dream about that and think about it often. The next deal was we were going to Okinawa, but we were on floating reserve to go to going to Iwo Jima. So Iwo Jima, that's just a little island, 8 square miles. It'll just be a walk-on. Well, what a surprise that was. The casualties were so high that I'll make some comparisons later. But we immediately, about the 3rd day, we had to go in, our division, 3rd Marine Division. And what a sight it was. The horizon covered with dead Marines and wounded Marines. There were 20,000 Japanese there, and they'd been bombing that for over a year. In all of that bombing, they killed less than 100 of the Japanese. And the only thing, they were buried in so deep, they had tunnels and whatnot going throughout the whole island. When they were down 20 feet or so, bombs had hit, they didn't know where they hit, they caused no damage, unless they happened to make a direct hit on a hole or something. But they killed less than 100 people, Japanese then. Well, it was a battle to end battles. It was considered the most bloody battle during World War II. And there were 7,000, just short of 7,000 Marines that were killed there. Another 20,000 was wounded. And then there were 22,000 Japanese that were killed there. At that time, they never would surrender. Death was an honor for them, but it was certainly not for us. For example, in my platoon of 45 men, all but 2 were wounded or killed. I wasn't one of these 2 either. But well, we totaled up casualties. 7,000 killed, 20,000 wounded, that's 27,000. And then there was another 20,000 Japanese killed. So 47,000 men were killed there. I compare that sometimes with the tragedy of 9/11. Thank goodness we'll never see another Iwo Jima. And freedom is certainly not free. And as I say, you look up there and see all the dead Marines that rise and covered with dead Marines. That's costly. Anyway, I'm here, and I enjoyed being a Marine, but I was in for 4 years and 6 days. They kept me 6 days longer than I was supposed to go. But I got out, and here I am, and it's been a pleasure for me to talk to you folks. You future of tomorrow. And I say that freedom is not cheap. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. I don't know where to go after that, but Sergeant Carrasco is going to follow up. Active duty Army, been to Iraq. Been to Iraq 2 times. So I've got the past of a great generation from World War II. Jack and his friends did their thing. Sergeant Carrasco, Captain Felder, they're doing their thing now. I did my thing back in the 80s. And I think all the staff members here that did their thing when they were in, and now they're teachers. Teachers are a noble profession. Not quite as noble as being a veteran, but the two are awesome. And I'm thankful every day that I get to be a part of this school with these students around me. Because you guys, I can't say it enough, guys and gals are the future of this country. And don't take that lightly, because a lot of people have died to make that happen for you. And that's what a veteran does. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Sergeant Carrasco.
Not very often that a speaker begins with silence. It's uncomfortable. It's forced. We often don't know what to do with silence. World War I, the Great War, the war to end all wars, shook the nations of the world for 4 years, claiming 20 million lives. The armistice was signed on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And since then, nations commemorate that event with a moment of silence. This day is observed around the world and has many names. Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, the Day of Peace. It once was a celebration of the silencing of cannons of World War I. It is now a day when nations around the world pause in a moment of silence with solemn pride and remembrance of the heroism of those who have served. those who are currently serving, and those who died in our country's service. We don't mark this day each year as a celebration of victory. As proud that victory as we are, we mark this day as a celebration of those who made victory possible. It's a day we keep in our minds the brave men and women of this young nation. Generations of them who, above all else, believed in and fought for a set of ideals. They chose to serve the cause that is greater than self. Many, even after they knew they'd be sent into harm's way. And in this time of persistent conflict, for the better part of a decade, they have endured tour after tour in distant and difficult places. They have protected us from danger. They have given them, others, the opportunities for a better life. So to all of them, to all our veterans, to the fallen, and to their families, there is no tribute, no commemoration, no praise that can truly match the magnitude of your service and sacrifice. We can offer this humble moment of silence. Silence does not come naturally in America. We are loud and busy, constantly moving. We celebrate with fireworks, concerts, parties, picnics, songs, and parades. It is not in our nature to be still or to be silent. You see, silence is something we struggle with. Our world is not a silent world. It is not a peaceful world either. We struggle to be silent, to be still for a moment. Our world struggles with war, with strife, with injustice, with hunger, with disease, with destruction, and it cries out in need. Our service members heeded the call, the cries of world. It did not sit back in silence, but stood against a chaotic world to bring peace. A life of service is anything but peaceful. From the sound of reveille to the blowing of taps, their lives are in constant motion. The days are filled with the sounds of a drill sergeant's voice. Rifles at the training range, trucks, ships, submarines, helicopters, jets, tanks, mortars, and cadences. It is also filled with the sounds of their children laughing, their spouses, and their friends. When they deploy, the day can be filled with other sounds that linger long after the soldiers return. No, a life of service is not silent. Their lives are busy and noisy, but no one knows silence like a military family. They know a silence like no other. The silence that remains when a son or daughter goes off to boot camp, or the lingering silence when a father or mother deploys, or the deafening silence when the flag is handed to a grieving loved one. Their silence is profound and is a living testament to the service of their loved ones. Silence today is rare. Like soldiers on the battlefield, we are bombarded from all directions with noise. Some people avoid the emptiness of silence and seek to fill its voids with voices and sound. Some see silence as an action, but this silence today is silence full of meaning, message, and purpose. Silence, like sleep, has a way of healing our spirits. This silence gives us pause from our hectic lives to remember and to find a healing peace in our remembrance of the soldiers of the past. In the silence, we open our spirits to feel the depths of their service and sacrifice, and we honor them by silencing our personal cannons to give them the full measure of our respect. We call this a holiday, but for many veterans, it's another day of memories that drive them to live their lives each day as best as they possibly can. For our troops, it is another day in harm's way. For their families, it's another day to feel the absence of loved one, the concern for their safety. And for others, it's another day when the grief of loss remains fresh. The resilience of our soldiers and their families never fails to amaze me. We are working to help soldiers and families who face the physical and psychological struggles of multiple deployments to become and remain balanced, healthy, and self-confident. They represent the best of America. Our Army family is strong, and the Army is seeking to adapt the institutions, modernize the force, and build resilience to remain and have a combat edge as the strongest fighting force the world will ever know. This is the best way the Army honors their service. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you for a brief moment of silence to honor all the moments, days, and years our veterans and their families have served and sacrificed for our nation. Veterans, both past and current, I ask you to stand. We remember the brave men and women who have served in places such as Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the desert of Africa, the cane field of the Philippines, the rice paddies and jungles of Guam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Haiti. Let us remember those who are deployed in service to their country. Let us remember those who, because they paid the ultimate sacrifice, cannot be with us today. In our moment of silence, we lift our thoughts, gratitude, and prayers to our veterans. Lift your spirits to the families and speak with your silence. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with our veterans. So while it is important and proper that we mark this day with a humble silence, it is far more important we spend all our days rejoicing in their service and reminding ourselves that because of our veterans, our country still stands. Our founding principles still shine. Nations around the world that once knew nothing but fear now know the blessings of freedom. To you veterans, we say thank you.
Okay, at this time we're almost done. Mr. Nord and the LC Band are going to play the theme songs from all 5 branches of the military. If you have a family member that is serving or has served in that branch of the service, please stand. Also, if you served in that branch of the service, you know what to do. First off will be the Coast Guard. Hit it, Mr. Nord.
Hit it. Hit it. Hey. Where that bass is.
behind me, center stage, Patriot Guard riders have stood here patiently and professionally. They do this as an honor to all veterans. They've brought their flags today, and they've brought their stories. I'd like you to thank them with a round of applause. At this time, I'm going to have everyone rise as we will retire the colors. I have Jackson Ogden will be performing taps. And again, remove your ball caps, hats, covers. Retire the colors. On behalf of all the staff, myself, and all veterans, thank you, LC Tigers.